Welcome to the webinar, How to Pitch in Germany, as part of our Startup Germany tour. My name is Dominik Stute. I'm responsible for the field of innovation, industry, and international networks at the Chamber of Industry and Commerce in Dortmund. I'm one of the main organizers of the tour, and I'm really happy, together with the colleagues from Essen, to welcome so many people from so many different countries here in our webinar. With our startup tour, we would like to introduce you to one of the most dynamic and attractive business locations in Germany, North Rhine-Westphalia. And in addition to that, we want to prepare you for successful engagement here in our region. And therefore, we offer you an exciting webinar program with 10 different topics over the next few weeks. Our webinar today is the second one, so there are many more topics to come. And if you don't know the program yet, I'll put the link in the chat afterwards. The Startup Germany tour is organized by the Chambers of Industry and Commerce and NRW, with the special commitment of the chambers in the Ruhr area and Düsseldorf. And the tour is supported by some important partners like the Ministry of Economic Affairs, Industry, Climate Action and Energy of the state of North Rhine-Westphalia, NRW Global Business, the NRW Bank, and Ernst & Young. And as Chambers and NRW, we are your central point of contact for many topics which you can start your business in NRW. And we are at the same time your bridge to other institutions that can help you as well. And to give you a brief overview about what we do, I have prepared just one single slide for you. So I'll share my screen again. So that are just two highlights of our services, but maybe the two most important things for you. So the one thing is the individual consultation. We advise you on a lot of different topics, and maybe the most important one is how to set up a company here in our region, but also topics like overview of funding and financing for your business. And we help you with customs formalities, foreign trade legislation, and many more topics in a very individual way. And the second, maybe more important thing, is we give you access to our wide networks. So we have 1.2 million member companies in total every 60. So we have 16 chambers in NRW, and in total we have 1.2 million member companies. We have a very strong connection to them and connect you with them. We can also connect you to our German chambers abroad, our Auslandshandelskammern, as they called in German. We have 93 countries covered by them, and they are our bridge to the international, to the world, to other countries. And we have for sure an intensive cooperation with all the partners of the startup ecosystem, like accelerators, investors, other multipliers. So that is what we can offer you if you are interested in, and what can our colleagues from Essen offer you as well. Every chamber can offer you. So I now hand over to our host and moderator for today, Maike Sommer from the Chamber in Essen. I wish you a good webinar and see you. Goodbye.
Thank you, Dominik, and welcome everybody to How to Pitch in Germany. My name is Maike. I'm from the Chamber of Commerce and Industry in Essen and will be one of your partners here. Let's take a trip to the international and German region of the startup universe today. Three very interesting speakers will give you their different perspective. At first, I will tell you about Julian. He is Senior Startup Program Manager at Innovation Hub Brick, who will share with you the challenge and solutions faced by many startups. Also here is Ronja, Head of Global Startup Management at DB Schenker, a powerhouse in logistics, as she sheds light on what corporates look for in a pitch. Kaif Ali, a founder who did the big step from India to Germany, will talk about first-hand experiences. Enjoy the talk of the three interesting players and use it to give some questions after that. Have fun.
Thank you, Maike.
Thank you, Mike, for the introduction. Yeah.
Yes. So if that's fine for you, I'll just add a bit to my background for everyone here, so you can contextualize what I'm saying and where I'm coming from, and then I'm happy to give over to the other panelists. So that's correct. I'm a program manager at Brick. We're a startup hub in Essen. We support startups from all over Europe in our programs. We have different verticals that we're focusing in. So these are renewable energies, healthcare, and future industry tech. And I've been leading the programs for the renewable energy parts now for a year. And I've seen about 80 startups go through our programs in the past 2 years, and about a third of them are international. So some first-hand experiences, mostly from Europe, and I'm very happy to share my experiences with all of you guys and discuss what's the pitching stage like in Germany.
I'm just going to jump in. Hi, everyone. It's a pity that I cannot see you, but I see that there are 29 people. So I'm not sure if the chat function is working, but please let me know from where you're dialing in, so I'm getting a better perspective on from which countries you're actually from, so that's then at least I can learn something today as well. That'd be nice. So greetings from Hamburg, city in northern Germany. I'm heading the global startup management activities for DB Schenker. We're 3PL logistics transport management system. And so what we do in our startup terminal team is we are looking obviously for startups. We want to collaborate with them, and we want to become your customer. So when we look at what is DB Schenker doing, just for everyone, I'm not expecting, even though we're almost 80,000 employees, I'm not expecting everybody to know. So we do land transport, air and ocean freight, and we do contract logistics. And Dominic just told me that the Q&A function, or the chat, is actually not working. So that's a pity, but let's just try to make it as entertaining for you guys as possible. But so at DB Schenker, next to the business units, we of course also have a bunch of functional units on, like, from sales to P&O, people and organization, over finance, procurement, IT, you name it. A lot with some of them are really interesting when it comes to real estate management. So there are a lot of departments where at first sight you wouldn't think about that they have their own department, but of course when you're always looking for new sites, then those departments also are quite relevant. And so what we do is we'd like to come up with new innovative solutions that our own companies based, or our own employees based on their daily operations, are not thinking about. When you look at it from a theoretical perspective, we'd like to close the gap about the innovator's dilemma, so that we always come up with new solutions that they might have not thought about. But at the same time, we realize that the entire work of our department has become way more successful, and we receive higher commitment when we actually mitigate problems that are coming from the organization. So yes, sometimes we push just state-of-the-art new technologies into the organization, but what we actually like to do better is if we first collect some pain points inside of the organization, and then we find relevant startups for this field. And I think we'll have a discussion about, like, maybe whatever we want to talk to, right? But what's, for me at least, really important is the fact that we don't do any POCs. So I'm not interested, like, being quite straight here, I'm not interested into validating any business models, not helping startups to prove their technology stack. This is something they should do with other partners in crime. My job has been successful when we actually become a customer and we can scale the solution. So giving you just a couple of like lighthouse projects on our end. Once you have made it through the pilot, it's been successful, we're running it up to another 3, 4, 5 new branches. And then it's our aim to scale it as much as possible. And Schenker has a country reach of 120 countries. So there's a lot of potential that once you made it as a listed supplier, that there's a bunch of opportunities to grow together with us. And that makes our job at least quite exciting, because I get to meet a lot of founders. And at the end of the day, just to sum it up, I would say there's a beauty that Schenker actually provides the capacity. As of our team, we're 11 people, simply because when you look at in different regions, I'm going to take out the United States, there you wouldn't even staff the people of, let's say, 10 people to talk to startups and help find a process of how the procurement can't be as hard, or how the funding or the invoice has to be at the beginning of the pilot and not at the end, and all these little things there where we just have to fight for startups because they are still in the venturing phase, and we'd like to give them a chance. And that's why I think it's really cool that throughout Europe and a lot of companies actually have those venture client units, and those can truly help you to get access to those companies. But again, sometimes all you also need when those companies do not have a venture client unit, then obviously just reach out to any operations or so. But more on that later. I hope this gave you a brief overview of what we're doing, and I'm looking forward to some discussions here. So with that, hi Ali.
Yeah, thanks, Ronja.
Sorry, let me jump in first because just information, the chat is you can only read the chat. Yeah, you cannot use it, but you can use the Q&A function. So if you have questions, if there are questions to you, our guests can use the Q&A function, please, and so we can have a discussion on that. Sorry, Kaif, but just want to add that because it's important for later.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Thanks, Ronja and Julian, for your prior introduction. Yeah. So I am Kaif, and I am founder of Space Germany. So last year, I came to Germany in an accelerator program, which is called Circular Valley. So I am based in the middle of the state of North Rhine-Westphalia. You can see in the middle with the city of hanging train, like flying train called Schwebebahn, Wuppertal. So last year I came here. So from background, I'm an architect. And when I came here in the program, I saw a big market gap in the visualization and digital sector in the architecture and real estate industry. And the theme of this webinar is how to pitch in Germany as well. So when I pitch in front of the jury and in front of all the stakeholders, when I got a business partner from my pitch. So we started our company last year, Space Germany, and since then we have got a lot of clients already. We are working with city development agencies. I'm also getting, you can say, NRW Gründer Stipendium, like scholarship for founders by the state of North Rhine-Westphalia. And while validating our product with the clients, we also got funding by the state of North Rhine-Westphalia called MID Mittelstand Innovation Digitalization Grant. So guys, so you can say the journey of an entrepreneur to coming in Germany, founding the startup, getting the business partner, getting the scholarships, and registering everything from notary to e-hakas, and getting into the ecosystem and getting the revenues. I have experienced everything from step by step, and now I have now established here, and now gradually growing and gradually making the recurring customers. So this startup Germany tour, I was also part of the program for the last year, where I got to know the stakeholders and industry partners from the city of Dortmund, from the city of Essen, and from Düsseldorf with consultancy agencies like EY. So this NR Startup Germany tour and North Rhine-Westphalia as a whole state is a really interesting platform and a place for young entrepreneurs and new startups. And in every sector, for example, if you are in the renewables and in the energy sector, Essen is a really interesting place to be in. If you are in logistics, Duisburg, Dortmund are interesting places. If you are in communication, I think Cologne is a really good fit for you. And for me, I am working in the sector of circular economy, as well as I have a really good network in my city of Wuppertal. So for me, it's a good place for me to be located in. So as a whole, NRWay and this Startup Germany tour will give you a really good introduction on how you can scale up your innovation ideas and entrepreneurship journey in Germany and in North Rhine-Westphalia. Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Awesome, thank you. I think it's a very good summary, and already touches on maybe a peculiarity of Germany, that even in one state like North Rhine-Westphalia, there's so many different
Absolutely.
focus points in terms of industry, that it might be hard from the outside to have a peek in and decide, hey, okay, North Rhine-Westphalia is awesome, but where do I go? So I think it's a very valuable point. And before you come here, you should certainly ask some people like ourselves, and be like, hey, what's the destination going to be? So yeah, that's an awesome point.
Absolutely. Yeah, I saw a comment from Naila. Yeah, I came from a program called Circular Valley. So great to know that, yeah, you are also part of the program. I was from batch 2. Now their batch 6 is going on. So I also invite you guys to just look for the Circular Valley program and see if they fit with your theme idea of your company. You can also apply.
Yeah, 100%. So Circular Valley is an awesome program. I've been to the demo days a lot of times because, of course, the topic of sustainability is very close to BRICS. So we always say we work for a livable future. So I think that perfectly plays into that part. We are focusing, as we said, on renewable energies and healthcare for now, but also industry tech, which is, I guess, it's related to logistics, but not limited to. So that's also an interesting point. But for myself, I'm from an accelerator. We have different standards of what startups we expect. So I think this was also the point of you, Ronja, set clear expectations. So for us, it's very similar. Our flagship program is interested in startups that have a product, that are looking to scale in the market or enter the German market. And that's exactly what we are experts for at BRICS. So we've had multiple European startups come here, Israeli startups, and we've helped them, to scan the industry, scan the landscape, and find an entry point. And that's what we do. So I think maybe it's also a point worth discussing. Who are you talking to? Are you talking to an accelerator and trying to get entry there? Are you talking to DB Schenker and finding hard sales, finding the customer fit in that sense? And I would say in Germany, that's very important. So from my experience, people in the startup bubble are very open and welcoming, but still maybe a very German typical thing would be, okay, maybe that's not the right fit for me. It was nice talking to you. And then what you absolutely need to do as an entrepreneur is to ask for a follow-up. Hey, okay, maybe this wasn't interesting for you. Maybe it's not the right fit. That's totally fine. But hey, who's in your network that I could ask? All right. People might not be as willingly to directly give you the best contact they have. You have to ask for it. Usually, that's my experience. But they will give it to you if you're nice and have a proper introduction. So maybe that's a tip I can give right at the start.
Ronja, do you wanna say something?
No, I'm just actually smiling about it. I had a couple of thoughts. I mean, everybody has to go their own journey. Let's not make it into a person development course here. But I think when you are a founder, there are just a couple of basics I'd like to share with you. And I'm not sure if they're all like German related, but at least coming from somewhat a European mindset, perhaps they can help you. The one is like I'm gonna shoot some high notes here, so I'm hoping not offending anybody, but make sure that if you're attending an accelerator or like a found or something, that it actually adds value, because I think Germany has, I don't know if we're trying to break a record, but we have so many accelerators running on and off, and I don't think many of them actually truly bring you value. So I would be really, really cautious about your time, where and how you'd like to also invest in the time you commit into one of those accelerators. As a matter of fact, I'm doing my PhD at the moment, and one of my colleagues in my team, he's researching the fact that startups in the European area who are part of an accelerator actually have a lower pre-money valuation than startups who do not participate in an accelerator. And again, I'm just trying to start a big discussion here. So this is just one thing I'd like to give you on your way, that just because it sounds fancy of an accelerator and there are a couple of big names on it, I'm not sure if it really helps you in where you're going. And on that state, one last thing I'd like to share is if you actually need to enter an accelerator, because you have not sharpened your idea, you have not validated your hypotheses, you have not come to a degree that you actually know what you're doing, and then instead of being like crystal clear in your focus, you decide to attend or enter an accelerator. That should also be a good question you should ask yourself. So again, I mean, I cannot see you guys. I hope you take this with the best intentions from my side. But I think looking at it from like what can generate the highest impact, that's something I'd like to share with you. And then backing up to what Julian said about who's your champion. So I mean, you can imagine DB Schenker has a lot of like growth potential for startups, and we're really open to them as well, and we want and need them too. But what I can also share is that it's sometimes really hard. What I just stated also in my starting message was, it's important that you know the processes of the industry you're talking to. So know your audience. Know if you're, for instance, talking to a logistics firm, then like let's just say I get a lot of companies who have an automated route software, or they have an automated for robots in the warehouse, or they have, you know, anything that you feel like, oh, and then you would think, why didn't we do it already? Or they have like some how you can better pack your pallets on a trailer, you know. So you're kind of getting the idea. And the problem here is often not that everybody at Schenker is too stupid to do it. It's simply that the quality of data is just not sufficient and high enough. Or there's a particular many reasons why it's like the most efficient route is not being picked. And so what happens oftentimes, to me at least, is that I get requests from startups that they have like the most state-of-the-art software, and they're and for me, sometimes I don't even start to explain where's the idea of, because it's like I feel like they are so far away from our operational side that somebody else should have done the learnings. And like again, I'm saying this with the best of intention, but when I cancel startups really fast is when I realized that they just came together with a bright idea and a nice mock-up or a nice front end, and they actually do not truly can navigate through the industry knowledge which is relevant. And so again, when you're attending towards, you want to do a startup, you want to build a new venture, what I'd like to give you as a friendly advice, like make sure that this is not just a new software as a service that's a little bit more fancy, has a little bit more nicer buttons, but that you can actually solve a problem from the organizations.
Absolutely.
And with that, Kai, now I know your name, so now second introduction to you. Sorry for my first mistake here.
Thanks, that's fine. Yeah, I also want to add up on this because I also came up in Germany with an accelerator program. But yeah, as an entrepreneur or as startups or companies, you should not majorly focus like accelerator programs as your major focus. Just be like crystal clear what you want to take up from the program. So here you with the accelerator programs, they have a really, every accelerator programs in the state specific topics can provide you a really good network in the industry and in the economics and in the governmental level on that particular topic. So with that, you can validate your idea and generate some new customers, or even get at least some LOIs, letter of intents, from the clients. And with that, you can then go on to further you can say sell your services or sell your products. So the thing is, at the end, we have to make business, we have to grow here, and for that you have to sell, and have to go to the direct stakeholders. So accelerator programs will give you the good platform, but you as an entrepreneur and you as startups have to do the main important thing by yourself, to reach out to the clients and to close the things. So I can also tell you with my experience, because how I came here, I met a lot of people, and then they remembered us as startups, and they connected us with their networks. and then gradually we got business and we got opportunities. So then after getting the business and getting the you can say contracts and some opportunities, then after I took the decision to register my company in Germany. So you can also say then I went back to India and applied entrepreneurship visa. So currently I am on a very interesting visa, entrepreneurship visa, that Germany government, federal government give to self-employed people or to startups, entrepreneurs, or to highly potential people to come here and do their entrepreneurship skills. So that's what I would like to tell you guys, that if you like Startup Germany tour, for example, as an accelerator or as a platform, will give you a really good opportunity to meet with the direct stakeholders. But then it is your responsibility to get the business, you can say, and then gradually go forward and move forward. And um, there are also yesterday only I was just searching what is going around in the funding aspects in the North Rhine-Westphalia, and it is really interesting to see that the Economic Ministry of North Rhine-Westphalia, with the cooperations with NRW Bank and various other stakeholders, have come up with so many interesting funding programs to support entrepreneurship from the creative sector, from digital sector, especially focused for the female entrepreneurs, especially focused on the topics of energy. So when you validate your idea, when you get the recurring customers, then here is a really good ecosystem to scale you forward. So step by step, I would like to say you guys that step by step, make a target for your every milestone, how what you want to do in this from this accelerator program. Then when you register, where you want to register, to whom you want to connect with, what is your target industries, and then look for specific networks. I would suggest, because when I come here, I register my company, I already have a really good B2B network in my region, even from big companies like Bayer or some Mittelstand companies like Knipex, Coroplast in my region. But as an entrepreneur, I moved to every event. So I went to Dortmund, next day to Cologne, next day to Bonn, next day to Münsterland, every like stretch the whole state. So in that way, you connect directly with the stakeholders. People will know you what you are doing and have your business cards all around. So just aware people what that you are here and this is your service, and then gradually things will grow. And that is my experience, that after like here, you can say project awareness and project like starting phase and closing phase, like the whole life cycle of business is quite slow in initial phases. But yeah, if you deliver good, your clients and their respective clients, everything like are like satisfied, then project will come, business will come later on. You will be a part of supply chain, you can say. So guys, this is what my you can say feedback. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I like that point a lot. Also, you being very critical, Ronja, I think is a great thing. I think this is a cultural thing, that everybody wants to be nice in the startup scene and empower entrepreneurs, which is really important. But to be honest, it's very hard to found a startup and to be successful with it. And if you are not very critical and very thorough, you won't make it. It's just a reality. And even if you are, there might some things that stop you, right?
Yes,
So like I've had an investor say to us, because we have a demo day, of course, there's some people coming pitching. He said, you know, Julian, if the first startup isn't that interesting, then Spiegel Online, which is like a newspaper app, will be more interesting for the rest of the day than your pitches, right? And that's something. I mean, that's a bit polemic, but you know, his sentiment is correct. And it's the same if you talk to Ronja and you talk about your SaaS, and she's like, yeah, I mean, I've heard it 100 times. You've not really have put the effort to understand me as your customer, right? They're not at the right place. So maybe it's a bit like, not saying like burning bridges, but there's only one first appearance that you can make, and one first impression. and that should be rather good, especially here in Germany, I would say. People are usually critical in a good way, you know, or you also say that, Kai, if it's good, if you deliver, you know, if you know your stuff, then people will go along with it fast because, you know, okay, they've done their homework, we like it, let's move on, let's not waste time. That's a very positive thing. So people will not invite you back if they're not really, really interested, which is also a good thing. So you know where you stand, right? Yeah, and that's really important. And one last point on the over acceleration as an accelerator manager, I 100% agree. I do not like startups applying to 2 or 3 different programs. I do not like having a simultaneous program working with them. And what we do is actually we ask the startups, what are your challenges for the next 3 months? And we exclusively work on these challenges. No extra workshops, no extra fluff. We just work on that. We make introductions, we call investors, we hire some experts, you talk to them and you work, and that's it. And if the accelerator or the person supporting you is not asking you what you need, then you're at the wrong place. You know, if they just say, hey, this is what you need to do, like it's just some universal truth, then that's most likely not correct.
Absolutely. And I don't want to be the critical person here in this call, but I also, like, I've been in the startup and venture scene for 10 years. When I studied in Copenhagen, I was just part of I worked in a startup. One of them got insolvent. Then I later founded my own company, Builder. So I was in the founding scene before that. And now I'm like on the investor / customer side. So for me, I feel like I've seen all 3 perspectives of the startup world. And I also I think this call doesn't add too much value if it's just like a shout out to, okay, Germany is great, everybody come to Germany. I do believe, and I think Germany has just gotten on the 2nd or 3rd place, like we just overcome Japan when it comes to economics. So yes, we are a very strong economic country when it comes to, especially in automotive, in healthcare, in chemical things, in everything in steel. So I don't want to complain. There's a lot of strong and big companies, and I would say when you look at salary increasements like liberal parties, etc. There's if you know the right people, you can truly make an impact. When you don't, like, sometimes people, for instance, you found a company in Denmark, I know this firsthand, then they always do it in English right away because they know that if they actually want to grow, they have to get out of Denmark. And so the beauty about the DACH region, so like Germany, Switzerland, and Austria, you already have quite a big total available market if you target this regulative market. And the European Union per se too already has a lot of options, so that you don't always have to shoot for, where everybody wants. Like some years ago, many people always wanted to end up in the United States. And I think that kind of shifted, that there's already enough business to do and to improve and to optimize and to digitize in the European Union. However, truth be told, I think that's what's needed on one of those calls. That's why you want to know about the German culture, is also investments, even though they are still the strongest in Europe, they are going down. Like, it's, let's say, the high season of a lot of dry powder is way less than just a couple of years ago. I also see a lot of shifts from people moving from the startup world back to the corporate world, simply because they are tired of layoffs, they're tired of the let's say, continuous shifts. When you look at a lot of companies, and you would just make a ratio about, okay, they've been founded 2 years ago, a lot of them ramped up their employees, and a lot of them actually went down with the numbers of employees. So I do want to give you all the motivation, all the power you need to do your business, but I also want you to, thoroughly think about it. If it's a pain point that needs to be solved, if you have the right mindset, if you have the right mind power, if you have the right people, the right network, and if not, then build this up on the side and then do the venturing and the partnering. Because sometimes I also have to remind myself that, like, there's still many years ahead of us, so it doesn't always has to be right at this moment if it doesn't feel right. But at the same time, again, you wouldn't be on this call if you wouldn't be interested in entering this market. But I hope my bottom line is that Germans also, as Julian said, we are really direct. You know exactly where you are. I think you kind of get the message from me as well. So you know straight away if we like it or not. But take this as a positive thing, because then you don't waste any energy, you don't waste any resources, and oftentimes it's never personal, right? It's just like, hey, this is the way it is, and you do your thing with that. And yeah, but I think, in my personal opinion, also, I think it's good that this high season of venture capital, this high season of too many accelerators and too many business models that came to fail, that this time is somewhat also over. Because when we look at it at resource management from a society perspective, then there was a lot of inefficiencies in the last years. And so that's why, at least from my perspective, I think it also helps to kind of consolidate this industry again.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I also want to add one interesting point in the same discussion that we are doing, that at the end, you also, because uh, when you have innovation, that's good. Innovation is there, the market is there, uh, you as an entrepreneur is there, but the thing is you also have to work upon the team, and you have to have the team that is being integrated in the market according to the market. So for example, while if you are coming here, you should understand the German ecosystem, how the business work here, how the administration works here, which team skills or qualities that you needed, if you already have, or you have to get the team or like core people in your team from here. So for example, because I am from the real estate sector, I am working in the real estate and immobilian sector, which is a traditional market all around the world, obviously, also especially in Germany. So for my business partner, he is in mid 50s, so he understand the perspective of that market, and that helps us as a young startups to directly connect with the right stakeholders, not only to connect but to close even on calls. So you can say the having a team that is also fitting that particular sector is really really important, and you should look for, because I see a lot of companies here who have a really good product, who go from all around the accelerator programs, but after the fundings and after the you can say after funding and after the mentorship support, they are not able to sell, they are not able to like make businesses. So the team qualities also plays an important role. So if you are coming from international background, you should integrate here. I'm also learning German. I can understand Sprechen, Verstehen, bisschen Deutsch. Yes, I'm learning German. I can understand. I go to places. I attend events here. So and you should have you can say mentors here, and the core people in your team, that is you can say fit for that sector. So as we said, product market fit, you can say founder market fit as well is needed, especially in every region, but most importantly in Germany, because Germany has a traditional mindset, and people wants to this is a market of trust. So
Yes.
you have to build trust. That is important. Digital innovation, business, everything is, you can say, comes, but if you get the trust of the market, of the clients, then you can pitch forward, you can move to the another step. So trust, like core founders qualities, founders background plays an important role in trust building as well. Yeah. So for example, getting business, you should have you can say a German entity here, or if you are new here, people must prefer GmbH, like a big entity here, like a validated entity. So these things matters most for the clients, because clients see these, the company background, founders background, your portfolio, your testimonials, and if you have done some projects in the markets, that's good enough. And if your products is also supported by some states, or you are validated by some accelerator programs, that is also a, you can say, plus point to get into. Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree very much with that sentiment. So trust and expert knowledge is very highly regarded, and you should have that 100% and convey that with your customers. So This is the customer side, but on the, let's say, investor side, funding side, Ronja talked about, like in 2021, you go to VC in Berlin, you say, hey, I have a SaaS solution, give me 500K. I give you 25 to 30%, let's do it. And it happened. I mean, this is also like way off the top, of course, but that was the landscape, and now it's changed, you know. And if you talk to an investor, for example, or to an accelerator program, you can convey trust with your expertise, of course, and your thorough validation. So rather than, I mean, the big vision is important, but rather than spending 5 minutes of a 10-minute pitch on your great vision, give us some insight on how you validated, you know, what were your interviews and your insights like, and then if you're further along your journey and you've already traction, show your traction and in numbers, please, right? This is very, very important. I want to see, hey, are you already conducting business? Are these valid? Is this valid in the market, right? And that's what's more important to me than your storyline. Of course, every pitch needs a good storyline. Germans are people, and people like stories, so that's obvious. But we also like our numbers, we like our facts, and we like our trust. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, Julian summed up it very well. Yeah.
So there was a question, I'm not sure if everybody sees it, from Sashka. It was about what's the experience from DB Schenke in the field of supporting and investing in legal tech startups? I mean, quite naturally, I'm just going to go into this question, and then maybe also from the audience, there are coming more questions so that we can actually answer what you're asking. But Sashka, so from I mean, from an operation perspective, naturally there's a sweet spot for us. So we'd like to collaborate with companies that have somewhat a background or an interest in the logistics field. And this is especially true when it comes to investments. So when we talk about pilots, we of course have a lot of pilots, again, in people and organization, in legal and procurement and regulations and customs. But when it comes to investments, the sweet spot is definitely in early stage log tech, so logistic technologies, and then preferably without hardware. So this is like the sweet spot of our venture capital arm. So I would say the experience we have in the legal tech area is mainly for insurances and for regulatory and custom stuff, where we just realize that there's a lot of digitalization potential, and we just call out, like just recently we had a couple of like easy plugins for our existing softwares, or just like like easy ones. I wouldn't say they move the needle quite significantly, but they definitely have been a nice add-on for our legal departments to smoothen out some processes and automate them. But I wouldn't say it's a prioritization field of ours. I hope this answers your question, Sashka.
Also, maybe I can chime in real quick, since before I started my journey as a guy of economy and entrepreneurship, I studied law for quite some time, actually. Didn't finish it, but that's another story for another day. And I can say to you, in terms of legal tech, Germany, in terms of law, is very, very peculiar. So there's a lot of things you would have to know about German law as you are a lawyer. I think in Macedonia is probably similar, but Germany is really a tough landscape if you want to enter that market from outside. So you really should talk to some experts before you move here, because there might be some hurdles in the market, just as a heads up.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions? We have 27 people. Any more questions you'd like to know? Also, maybe it doesn't necessarily have to do business, could also be, I don't know, how's the weather? For instance, Hamburg, we all cannot wait for the spring to come. So if you're in a country that has way better weather, I really would recommend considering if you really want to move here. So that's another point. So questions can be super open, just to give you more inspiration.
I saw a question about agri-tech in Germany. I think food is quite a big topic. I don't know if agri-tech and life science are that huge. There's not that much agriculture space in Germany comparatively to our neighbors. So that might be more interesting for the Eastern Europes maybe also. But there is some, especially vertical farming. Then in the end is very interesting. I'll give you an example. We have a vertical farming startup in our portfolio. They're doing vertical farming for strawberries. Strawberries have a huge demand in Germany because people like to eat strawberry cake and they like to eat it all year long. So there needs hundreds of tons of strawberries are needed, and it's a very volatile fruit. So it's not easy to have good strawberries in the winter in Germany because the weather just plain sucks. So what can you do? And this is a very, very fast growing business of our portfolio. So maybe what I can say is, are your clients in Pakistan, for example, would they be similar to clients in Germany? Do they have the same problems in terms of weather and such, or ground? I don't know. I'm not an expert, and maybe try to apply that. Right, that would be my suggestion there.
So the next question is about, do you identify any particular challenges in Germany when it comes to B2B customers, acquisition and retention? I want to say, it kind of like what we picked on in our German culture earlier, that once you made it through the door and you made a connect and you build up the trust and you are at a stage that you mutually agree on the benefits, time or resources for money, then I want to say, this is maybe just my personal opinion, but I want to say that you have a higher retention rate because loyalty and also like lock-in effect is a big deal here. So oftentimes customers, they're kind of happy that they've made a decision and they want to stick to it, even if there are some hurdles coming along the way or some obstacles. I think to a long degree, they're trying to make it work before they would switch the software, switch the supplier, simply because oftentimes up to becoming a listed supplier, it is, it's a longer road, but then once you made it, oftentimes contracts here have a longitude about 10 years, 15 years. That's not uncommon, obviously not in the software field, but if you do things where hardware is involved, then oftentimes the contracts are for a longer period of time.
Yeah. I also want to add here that Germany, I can say it's a heaven for the B2B. You can say B2B heaven, because here it's a lot of B2B business you can go around, and yeah, it's really tough to enter it there. But if you are entered, you are a part of supply chain. You don't have to market the email, and the business will come to you, and you are part of their supply chain. But that's, you can say, if you have a good tech or a good B2B business model, I think you should also look for Germany as a market.
Maybe one thing that might be interesting in terms of B2B, because if people think B2B from Europe and from outside Germany, they often think like bigger corporates, right? But in Germany, there's another thing that's called Mittelstand. So these are small and medium companies. Yeah. And they work in kind of a similar to big corporates, but also very different. And that's a topic for a whole another talk. German Mittelstand. It's interesting. Read it up. But you should know that these people are usually more on the traditional side in terms of conducting business, and it's oftentimes family tradition or a long-standing history of people. They are having usually big margins and a lot of revenue. You wouldn't even think of. They're often specialists, so they provide a very special part for big companies all over the world. For example, in automotive industry, it's very common. So these are people who've been doing their stuff for a long time, but they realize now they need to change. They need to go quick, and they're very interested. And there's a lot of, let's say, communities of Mittelstand, of SMEs that you should look into, because getting into every single one of those might be hard. So you should look for a network, an accelerator. There's a lot of in Ostwestfalen-Lippe, so Founders Foundation, for example. If you're into education, they have very great connections into the German Mittelstand. So this is something you look out for. You should probably ask your Chamber of Commerce, because they will know. You know, they work with these players, and they might refer to your network that's useful for you.
Absolutely.
And I also want to share one thing just on that behalf. When you actually do found a company in Germany, I can only recommend you to maybe have a working student or somebody really from one of the first hours that speaks German. I regret that I have to say this again so clearly. Kaif, I'm not sure what's your take on this,
we have already.
there are so many bureaucratic hurdles, and yes, you can order your food in a restaurant in English, and yes, you'll be able to buy a kitchen in English. Like that's all people gonna, or maybe not even that. I'm not sure. I never had to do it in English. But I want to say when it comes to our well-known bureaucracy, it's already a hurdle if you have to do it in German. Like it's a huge hurdle just for people like me, and I'm fluent in German. But I can only imagine the obstacles and hurdles foreigners have to face. And I like the second I'm saying this, I'm already sorry about it. But yeah, this is something our bureaucratic system is just, yeah, it's just the way it is, and I don't want to accept it. But I just also I don't want to be blunt about it. So that's just one other thing I'd like to yeah, advise you with.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What was your experience on that, Kaif?
Yeah, learning German is, you can say, is a really important part of, you can say, integration as an individual, and also is very important as a company. So so for example, you will get every other day a letter from IHK or from your Spark, some regional banks, or from invoices maybe. So if you just miss out, so it will be a like big trouble for you. But yeah, this is also, you can say, a stress for me, that I have to, because what my domain is, you can say, the front end, I call it front end, like communications, marketing, business development. And for in these sectors, learning German, like communication in German language is really important, because as I earlier said, and Julian has also like said, like it is a, you can say, an aspect of trust building. So yeah, that is very important to speak, because all the invoices or uh, quotations or business presentations you will do will be majorly in the native language. Yeah. But the thing is, for example, as we are talking about the Mittelstand, it is a really interesting insight, and I want to like share with everyone that like I natively come from India, which is a population of 1.4 billion people, and there the companies, like the companies we call private limited companies, are 1.1 million. Okay. And Germany is a population of 85 million people approx. I don't know exact number, but here the companies are 1.4 million companies. You can say even more than the largest populated country in the world. So now you can say, you can understand, out of 1.4 million companies, you can just distinguish bigger companies like Bayer, DB, and but then more than 1 million companies are Mittelstand, and they need innovation, they need us, you can say, they need business, and they need to adapt with the current contemporary advancement going in the society. So that's a big target, you can say, Mittelstand, the medium-sized companies. And the medium-sized companies is not like small companies. They also have turnover of 300 million plus, you can say, which is, you can say, considerable, called as Mittelstand here. So that's a big market, and they are looking for, you can say, transformation. And that's for us as entrepreneurs, that could be a really big market. And in order to reach out to them, you have to understand them. So learning German, integration, understanding the market, having founders in that particular sector comes up to win those Mittelstands. Yeah. Absolutely. If anyone have some questions? Or agri-tech?
Yeah.
Accelerator.
Agri-tech. So is it agri-tech? Is it agri-food tech? So is it food related?
Yeah.
If it's food related, I refer you to I've heard good things. I have no direct context, but I'll give you two that are very good things about. All the accelerators.
So, I mean, on the last note, kind of also what I mentioned in the beginning, if you already have a product and you already have, let's say, a product that's scalable, in Europe, as I mentioned in the beginning, there are a lot of people who hold my job. So like they are head of innovation, head of global startup management, head of whatsoever, like everything when it comes to venture client units. And they are dedicated, so they are successful when they brought together a startup and their corporate. So I truly believe this is a game changer when it comes to opening doors. So if you already have a running product and you're just looking for a suitable match, then I recommend you looking for the pool of people who are doing something with startup management in a corporate, because I think it can be your gate to find the right people inside of the organization, because oftentimes this is the biggest hurdle. And I believe that's going to be my key takeaway for you today, at least from my end. And yeah, I mean, I wasn't able to see any of you. I think it's going to be the same for Julian and Kaif, but happy to connect with you guys on LinkedIn. If there are any more questions in the aftermath, please reach out. Again, on a positive note, there's a huge engagement and a huge empowerment wave and like optimism and cool people also in Germany. So we highly welcome entrepreneurs, we highly welcome new business ideas, and we need them. It's not like we just want them, but we need them too. And so that's also why I'm a big fan of any program, any accelerator, any investor who is driving impactful investments and ventures. And with that, thank you everyone for getting to know us and for your time.
Great,
Awesome,
everyone. Nice to connect with you, and we'll see you if you come up here. We will see you around in Anna, you can say, or in Germany, anywhere. And yeah, guys, good luck, and you will make it as we have made it. Yeah.
That's the right spirit. So yeah, I want to thank you all. Thank you for the awesome discussion. Happy that we could align on so many points. Also, have been critical and honest. It's also very German. But it is what it is. And if you're a startup that's interested in the verticals of renewable energies, hydrogen, healthcare, or industry tech, please hit me up on LinkedIn. Write me a message. If you're too early, I might refer you. If you're too late, we'll see, but we'll find a home for every one of you. I'm certain. Thank you.
Thank you.